Do you remember the first small channel you found on YouTube? I do. I love small channels because they can give you surprisingly deep glimpses into someone you'd never meet otherwise. YouTube is amazing like that. I mean, if you're watching this, then you're basically doing that with me. You can stumble deep into whatever niche you can think of and just find a person uploading for the sake of uploading. The person I found, now 14 years ago, was named Brian Cabat. His channel is cabat31b, and I subscribe because he uploaded montages of him and his friends playing pickup street hockey. And I'm talking to you about this because Brian's gone, but his channel isn't. So let me talk to you about a YouTuber you'd never hear of if I didn't tell you about him. Brian's channel is a time capsule of being a boy in Canada during the mid-2000s. The channel's videos can be broken down into 3 categories. Every video that remains up on the channel is hockey related, with the exception of one video documenting a used 200cc quad bike Brian had purchased. After 2 minutes of walking around the quad, he does donuts in the dust before driving past the camera. For whatever reason, this video has 39k views. It's his most viewed video. Next category are NHL 08 clips, of which there are 3, including this one that has 20k views of Brian scoring with a glitchy wrist shot. The other 15 videos that remain on cabat31b are saves and goals compilations of Brian and his friends playing street hockey. These are the deep cuts, with anywhere from a few hundred to a few thousand views. There were more at some point, you can tell by all the missing numbers, but they were removed for whatever reason. My best guess is copyright. The saves and goals videos all share the same formula. They're highlights of Brian and his friends playing small-sided games or just shooting around in different gyms, driveways, and empty lots. They're scored with early 2000s metal and clearly edited in Windows Movie Maker. They have near identical descriptions full of a list of common tags that you can find in the descriptions of a bunch of other things on the internet for whatever reason. Most likely, they came up for the most popular YouTube tags at some point. This means the descriptions just have strings of words like lunch, breakfast, dinner, tricks meet McDonald, or booty, blowjob, dance, webcam, hot, sexy girl, stripping, nice booty. I found these ones particularly strange, so I decided to try and find the origin of them, and I ended up finding a channel called BJC2396 with 7 subscribers and 2 videos that I thought maybe was like Brian's second channel or something, and that's why the tags were the same across both videos. But looking at the credits of the cardboards, parentheses, beef, skating video with 800 views from 2007, it was not Brian. So I guess that's just a crazy coincidence, which is wild. Regardless of the strange tags, Brian's videos are time capsules, archives of weekends and days off school, symbols of the freedom that you can only have in childhood when you have no other priorities than to keep yourself entertained. They paint a vivid picture of what being a teenage boy in the late 2000s was like, the promise of the internet being a place for everything you could want, whether that was hockey, quad bikes, or hot, sexy girl stripping. To understand why I look back so fondly on Brian's videos, you need to know a little bit more about me. As a kid, I idolized longtime goalie for the New York Rangers, Mike Richter, after seeing him make some incredible saves on TV, both in NHL games I'd watch on my local MSG network back in Connecticut, and in the Winter Olympics representing the United States. As much as I looked up to Mike, I wasn't that good of a skater myself, and I remember vividly when I found that out, struggling to keep up with all the other kids at the first hockey practice for an 8 or under team. While everyone else skated backwards, I cried as I skated off the ice early and never returned to another ice hockey practice again. For some reason. I guess I was just too traumatized by crying literally to my mom before leaving the ice rink. Even though nothing came of my hockey career, I still really loved playing goalie, and so I would daydream about being able to play street hockey goalie with my friends since I didn't need to skate. I talked about starting a team with some friends at some point, even though none of them played or even owned a hockey stick, and we were all middle schoolers. I'd even bought a cheap set of goalie pads and an extra stick to try and manifest my own goals and save sessions once I'd seen Brian's videos. It just looked so fun, sitting in net, trying to make a big sweeping glove save on a close-up shot, or pulling off a double pad stack to deny someone up close. I played goalie in soccer and lacrosse, but it never really felt the same. Something about hockey just made it feel like the perfect way to stand in a place to try and stop an object from crossing a line. I just felt comfortable standing in between the metal pipes of a hockey goal, even though I didn't play often. I kept playing goalie when I could throughout my life and would always pull out some otherworldly saves mixed in with newbie errors. College was amazing for this because we had IM floor hockey at Northwestern, so I could play hockey goalie and I didn't need to wear any skates. After 3 years of making it deep into the playoffs, we finally won my senior year with a team of 6 people. It was awesome, and we defeated the same fraternities, 3 different teams that they had in the playoffs because they had so many club hockey players and you can only have 2 per team. It's not often that you play the same organization 3 different times in one playoff. I owe that win to Brian. I know pretty much everything I know about hockey goalie thanks to Brian and his saves and goals videos, as well as NHL 04. I remember when I found out that Brian had passed away and feeling really sad. I was a pretty young kid, and it was the first time that I'd ever experienced anything like finding out someone I didn't really know but had liked had died through the internet. I think there was a part of me that thought maybe one day I would be able to message Brian and coordinate a meetup in Canada and be able to play street hockey goalie with a bunch of people that were my age and had the same passion I did. Unfortunately, that's not how the world works. At some point in the last few years, I had remembered Brian's channel and wanted a hit of nostalgia and tried to find it. I had a bit of a hard time finding it because Brian spells his name with a Y instead of an I, and so anytime I looked up Brian Cabot, I couldn't really find anything. I felt immense nostalgia when I found the channel again for the first time. It felt like visiting a long-lost friend and thinking back to a time where the biggest concerns that I had was whether or not I'd be able to find a street hockey league for my middle school friends and I, even though we had no money, no plan, and I was the only one that really cared about doing it. I tried finding more out about Brian to see if maybe there was something that I could do to better remember his life. All I was able to find was this clipping from the Prince George Citizen of Brian getting a flu shot when he was 8. I'm not joking when I say that was the only thing I could find. The only other piece of internet history that I could tie back to Brian Cabot is cabat31b. The cabat31 channel is effectively the only way that you can learn about Brian Cabot without having have known him. It's surely a rough picture, one that's missing out on so much, but 14 years later, it's still here. When I eventually die, I hope that my channel is something like Brian's, a tribute to the things that I loved. This has been Seth Loves to Talk. Thanks for listening.